The world is witnessing a historic moment of unity and sorrow as thousands of mourners, religious figures, and world leaders descend upon Vatican City to honor the life and legacy of Pope Francis, who passed away earlier this week. His death marks the end of a transformative era for the Catholic Church and the broader global community he touched through his unwavering commitment to compassion, inclusion, and justice. Vatican officials confirmed on Friday that Pope Francis's coffin has been officially sealed, a symbolic and sacred tradition ahead of the funeral rites. The ceremonies, set to take place at the iconic St. Peter's Basilica, are expected to attract not only heads of state and royalty but also millions of faithful followers from around the world who found hope and inspiration in his message of mercy and service. Among the high-profile figures already in Vatican City are United States President Joe Biden, a lifelong Catholic, and former President Donald Trump, whose arrival underscores the universal respect Pope Francis commanded, cutting across political and ideological divides. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, French President Emmanuel Macron, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and leaders from Latin America, Africa, and Asia have also made their way to Rome to pay their respects. In a rare sight, political rivals and adversaries are standing side by side, united by the profound loss of a man who transcended geopolitics and spoke to the common dignity of all people. Vatican security has been heightened, with tens of thousands of pilgrims and visitors already lining the streets, clutching rosaries, flags, and photographs of the beloved pontiff. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, broke centuries of tradition when he became the first Jesuit pope and the first from the Americas in 2013. Throughout his papacy, he embodied a vision of leadership rooted in humility, choosing to live in a modest guest house rather than the grand apostolic palace and traveling in simple vehicles rather than limousines. He was often described as the people's pope, a man who consistently prioritized outreach to the marginalized over institutional grandeur. His personal initiatives included frequent visits to homeless shelters, prisons, hospitals, and migrant camps. He openly welcomed LGBTQ+ individuals, calling for greater inclusion in the church, and shocked traditionalists by declaring that "who am I to judge?" When asked about gay priests early in his tenure, Pope Francis also championed urgent global causes, including climate action, poverty eradication, and interfaith dialogue. His 2015 encyclical Laudato Si called for a unified global response to environmental degradation, framing it as a moral and spiritual crisis. His work to bridge religious divides brought him to meetings with Islamic, Jewish, Buddhist, and even secular leaders in pursuit of peace and mutual respect. Tributes from across the globe reflect the breadth of his influence. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres praised him as a towering moral authority whose voice was a beacon of hope in times of darkness. Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby noted that Pope Francis reinvigorated the Christian call to serve the least, the lost, and the lonely. Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, and Buddhist leaders have issued heartfelt statements recognizing his relentless pursuit of a world bound by empathy rather than division. In Rome, a sea of humanity floods St. Peter's Square, many weeping openly as they leave flowers, candles, handwritten notes, and images of the Pope smiling in his simple white cassock. The Vatican has erected massive screens to accommodate the overflow crowds who wish to follow the proceedings live. The funeral mass, which Pope Francis himself had requested be kept solemn but simple, will nonetheless be a grand affair attended by dignitaries and viewed by billions around the globe. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State, will preside over the service, which will include prayers and readings in multiple languages, reflecting Pope Francis's global outreach. Following the funeral, Pope Francis will be laid to rest beneath St. Peter's Basilica, close to the tombs of his predecessors. His final resting place will be a site of pilgrimage for generations to come, a testament to a man who dared to imagine a church and a world renewed by mercy, humility, and justice. As the bells of Vatican City ring in mourning, millions worldwide are not only grieving the loss of a leader but also celebrating the life of a man who showed that true power lies in kindness, true leadership in service, and true greatness in humility. The legacy of Pope Francis will not be measured solely by the years he led the Catholic Church, but by the millions of hearts he touched, the walls he tore down, and the hope he sowed across a troubled world.